Sure, we talk birds around here. Why wouldn't we? But come fall, we're in a tree stand too. And that's where Nosler comes in. Their whitetail-specific ammo is purpose-built for clean, ethical kills that keep the meat pristine. No gimmicks, just trusted ballistics from a brand that's been at it since 1948. Nosler, built for the hunt, no matter what you chase.
Welcome to the Feathered Report, where the guys from Upduck discuss the latest news from the worlds of upland and waterfowl. Welcome back, folks. It's another episode of the Feathered Report, and it's hard when you're talking about news and updates to not talk about the proposed land sale, right? That's on the docket in the latest budget proposal. So if you haven't heard, I'd be surprised if you haven't, right? In the proposed budget that's in Senate review right now, there's a public land sell-off piece in there, anywhere from 2.2 to 3.3 million acres, over 11 different Western states. And the other thing too with this is that there's over 250 million acres that essentially, would be able to be, they would be picking and choosing which of those lands would be developed, right? And the purpose is to make housing cheaper in the West, which is a great thing, right? Yet it comes at the expense of places that you or I might be hunting at, which is my view on this is this is not a good thing, right? We should be calling our elected officials. We should be making our voices heard as hunters and come together as one. Because this is a threat to our ability to hunt, especially, waterfowl hunters. What's the main thing that we talk about is pressure on public lands. Well, less public lands, and while not all these lands, right, they may not affect you as a waterfowler personally if you're hunting more locally, yet it sets a precedent. It's not a good precedent. So, and it doesn't really matter what your politics are. This is not a red or blue thing. This is just this is a hunter thing. As hunters, we need to come together, make our voices heard, and get this removed. So that's not great news. But do what you can there. I know I'll be doing whatever I can, right? Making my voice heard. But we want to talk about good news here, right? So good news, that comes in the form of last pheasant season in South Dakota. So if you went out to South Dakota, you were part of a record year where more than 1.3 million roosters were harvested across the state. So that's pretty awesome. It was the best year in 13 years. Another stat that I read was that South Dakota hunters harvested more pheasants in 2 weeks than all the pheasants harvested across every other state, or any state outside of South Dakota, which is crazy. And that was the first 2 weeks in October. That's mind-blowing. It really comes down for South Dakota, right? It comes down to habitat and access. That's the big thing there. They have the best habitat for pheasants. They have the most pheasants. People have access to go hunt them, and people shoot a lot of pheasants there. Early on, according to this article from AmericanHunter.org, that's looking like 2025 could be just as successful. So if you've got a trip planned to South Dakota, you could be in for a really, really good time. If you are down in Georgia, and you're a big teal hunting fan, you could be in for some bad news, right? So there's a shorter teal season down in Georgia this year. Typically, it's a 16-day hunt. This hunt looks like it's a 9-day hunt. It's been shortened due to a survey that showed a decrease in population. So that stinks, right? We do need to do what's best, and based on, we have officials who study this stuff and make determinations about what what game populations can support from a hunting perspective. So no change in bag limits, just a shorter season down in Georgia there. I think we've talked about it in the past about different surveys. There's some new survey techniques using drones that some students in Wisconsin were using that were studying to potentially become game wardens. So curious, right? As we go along, if these survey numbers get more accurate and we make more adjustments to game seasons, or if we go more towards splash limits and things. It'll be interesting to watch how things evolve over the next 5 to 10 years. I have a feeling we're in for some interesting changes here as hunters. So that's it. 3 updates, a couple of not so good news ones, one real good news one. Have a fantastic day, night, evening, weekend, whenever you listen to this. Let your elected officials know how you stand or how you feel about the potential public land sell-off piece. And enjoy the rest of your summer, guys, because before you know it, it will be hunting season.